Thanks, Joe. I'm here with Max Dagley. How are you doing, Max?
I'm doing good, Noah, and I'm happy to be here. Bummed we don't get football for another 6 months, but being on Press Box is always a privilege. So happy to talk about Super Bowl 59.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into it. In a game between two juggernauts, the result was very one-sided as the Eagles completely dominated the Chiefs for nearly the entire game. What were the Birds able to do to make such a statement win on the biggest stage?
No,
Yeah, they say that defense wins championships, and it's hard not to agree with that after what we saw on Sunday night. Moving on to the next question, you mentioned that Saquon Barkley was held to only 57 yards the whole night, yet the Eagles' offense was still able to move the ball down the field and generate successful drives. What made it work for Kellen Moore and the Eagles on Sunday night?
well,
Absolutely. I've even myself doubted Hurts a lot since he's gotten into the NFL, but it's hard to argue against it. He's really just one of the best quarterbacks in the league now. Moving on to the last question. A year ago when the Buccaneers stuck into the playoffs and upset the Eagles in the wild card, people were calling for Sirianni and Roseman's head, but the Eagles kept their guys and built a loaded roster and won the Super Bowl. How much of a difference did the offseason make for the Super Bowl champs?
you know,
Yeah, fans calling for his head all the time. Last year, I think it's safe to say that the guys in the front office know what they're doing. So thank you so much for the analysis on the big game, Max. I'll send it back to Joe at the desk. Welcome to College Press Box. In 2024, Mike White and Texas softball finished with 45 wins as the runner-up in the Women's College World Series. However, in 2025, sitting as the number one ranked team in the first poll of the season, Texas softball has some unfinished business. Let's turn it over to Joseph. Thanks, Joseph and Gabriel. This past Sunday, Texas women's basketball had another ranked matchup on their hands, welcoming the number 2 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. Zoe Frigilana will join us when we return. We'll be right back. Welcome back to College Press Box. Number 4 Texas women's basketball welcomed the number 2 South Carolina Gamecocks to the Moody Center. Let's take a look at what transpired. Picking up in the first with Madison Booker hitting a tough fadeaway, and then later in the first, Rory Harmon says, "I can do that too," as she puts Texas up 9-5. South Carolina would respond with a beautiful fast break leading to a wide open Tessa Johnson 3, tying the game. Texas would then go on a little run, which was helped by this bucket from freshman Jordan Lee. And then, on the other end, with this Texas steal right here, turning into a fast break led by Rory Harmon, who finds Jordan Lee once again for the easy lay. However, the Gamecocks would not go down without a fight as Malaysia Fulwiley puts on a plate for Joyce Edwards for the easy layup. They punch back again in the third with this 3 from Bree Hall. And then again with a 3 from Tahian Papau, cutting the lead to 1. Texas has to respond, and they do with this signature Maddie Booker midi. Now, in the fourth, Madison Booker with a hard drive and a bucket, putting Texas up by 4. It's 57-55 Texas, though, through the fourth as Kyla Oldeker gets the steal, finds Booker, and finds her, and she lets her do the rest as she's able to finish and get the M1 after getting hit in the face. This time, Oldeker wants to do it herself, and she does, putting Texas up by 5. What a fourth quarter she had. In the final minute, South Carolina needs a bucket to tie it up, but Jordan Lee clamps up in crunch time. Now the Gamecocks need a miracle down 4, but the prayer would not be answered, allowing Rory Harmon to dribble the clock out as Texas beats South Carolina 66-62, ending its streak of 57 straight conference wins. What a game and an exciting finish at the Moody Center. Our very own Debony Serto and Aram Vila had the opportunity to cover the game as well. Here's what they had to say. Awesome job, Debony and Aram. To talk more about the Longhorns' statement win, let's go back to Joseph with a special guest. Awesome analysis, Zoe. When College Press Box returns, we'll take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports and look ahead to what's to come. You won't want to miss it. Last week, Texas men's golf traveled to Hawaii for the Amer Ari Invitational, where junior Tommy Morrison captured his first individual collegiate title. Morrison shot 21 under par over 3 rounds, which was highlighted by a 9 under 63 in the final round. Morrison clinched the victory by making a 15-foot birdie putt in a playoff against Hampton Roberts of North Carolina. The Longhorns will have about a month's rest before they return to competitive play at the Haight Collegiate Tournament from March 8th through the 10th. And that will conclude this week's edition of College Press Box. Please make sure to tune in to our other sports show this week, including College Crossfire on Wednesdays airing at 9 p.m. and the 1-0 Sports Show on Fridays at 11 a.m. Also, we invite you to follow our coverage on Instagram, X, and TikTok, and YouTube at the handle TSTV Sports. Thank you to our analysts, everyone in Master Control, our executive producer and host, Joseph Duffy, and all of our reporters in TSTV Sports. I'm Nolan Clay. He's Joseph Duffy. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.